nice
I'm not
together.
going to at this point.
Never said what heart's right.
Yep.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our March regular meeting of the Davies County Council. We'll get started with roll call. Tony Dungeon.
Here.
Tom Schaefer.
Present.
Mike Sprinkle.
Here.
Darren Holder.
Here.
Marilyn McCullough.
Here.
And Mike Myers is calling in remotely. Has he called in yet? Do we need to call him? Okay. We'll go ahead and move forward at that point. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First thing on the agenda is the executive sessions that were scheduled but never took place. So we just wanted to note that they were the first one did and the second one didn't. Okay, yeah. So the 3-1 did not take place, but we wanted to put that in the public record. Has everybody had looked over the meeting minutes for February 9th and the February 1st meeting, the joint session?
2286. Oh, try 2286. Okay.
Okay. Wait a second for Mike. While everybody looks over the notes and anybody sees anything that...
Are you there, Mike?
Yeah, I'm here now, yep.
Good morning, Mike.
Mike? Morning.
Morning, everyone.
Morning.
Does anybody have any corrections for the meeting minutes? You have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Tom Schaefer makes the motion.
Second.
Second by Tony. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, we're going to change this around a little bit. We want to talk about the Davies Community Hospital expansion. So Tracy, we'll go ahead and move you up, and that way you can get out of here. So.
Dan's here all day.
Well, thank you all for inviting me here today. And I think everybody knows how important the hospital is to a community for growth and to bring in new employers. So we certainly want to keep our hospital updated, and we want it to meet the needs of all the community members. We definitely want to remain an independent, county-owned hospital. We are managed by St. Vincent since 2017, and that has been going very well. Again, I think everybody knows that the hospital, some of the parts of the building are about 100 years old. And many other parts are at least 50 years old. So it is definitely time to do some renovation. And last year we had approximately over 12,000 ER visits. So we had a big year, obviously, coming off of, with the COVID surge. But many times we had patients in the hallways. We ran out of waiting room space. We had, unfortunately, sometimes because of infectious process, we had patients waiting in the ambulance bay, and that's not what we want for our community. So we have, in collaboration with ARC Design, we have come up with a long-term strategic facility plan. And phase 1 of that plan does include renovation of the ED and expansion of the rooms in the ED. We want to add another trauma room. We want to add another couple of exam rooms, and in order to do that, we have to relocate our ICU, which is a 5-bed ICU, and we're going to relocate that upstairs to the second floor. So we also, in that process, we're going to add an additional ICU room, so we'll have 6 ICU rooms, state-of-the-art, and then also renovate the existing rooms up on Med-Surg. So we're very excited about it. Again, our goal is to keep the patients here in our community where they don't have to go elsewhere to receive care. So we think it's a very important project. We have an annual payroll of over $28 million and over 600 employees that we employ at Davies Community Hospital. So the total estimated cost of the project is now at $8.8 million. So again, we feel like it's very necessary. We want the community to choose Davies Community Hospital. So we do think it's very important for the community. And that's all I have.
All right, thank you. In yesterday's commissioners meeting, the commission approved $400,000 to help aid the emergency room expansion. So we're here today to just, what fund would we'd like to take that out of, and it kind of goes right along with our CARES Act funding. That's what that was for. And I think, is there a motion today to approve that, or any questions?
An exact fund.
It would be the rainy day fund.
Oh, rainy day, okay.
Yeah, which there's approximately 800,000 left of the CARES Act funding in that account. So we would have 400,000 left in that account. Or, well, besides the 1.9 million that was in there before.
Patty said, well, it'll go 787, 277, so. If you're looking for a motion, I'll make it.
If there's any questions, Tony, you want to make a motion to approve 400,000 out of the CARES Act funding for the hospital?
Yes.
Second by Tom. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Nay. Motion carries. Thanks, Tracy.
Thank you, Tracy.
All right, Dan, you're up. Welcome this morning.
Man, I feel like after that, I might be asking for a Do you know, for a tiny fraction of what it would cost
I think I'm taking the under
to
on that one.
expand the hospital? No, I want to make the case for the Odin Police Department to become part of the Spillman data system. And for those of you who might be new to this, Spillman is the gold standard for law enforcement information management. It would be, if you're in IT at all or have worked in a system, and that's your core information sharing system. Sheriff's Office is on it. Washington Police Department is on it. And what it allows is for uniform report making, and all the reports that come to me are the same thing. But importantly, it's access to what I would call behind the scenes information, whether there's warrants out for something, type of other complaints. And Scotty up in Odin has no knowledge of that. What happens is sometimes for him to even know or be able to execute a warrant, warrant for their arrest, maybe they or whatever, he has to physically drive down here sometimes to get the actual piece of paper. That's a 1980s solution to a 2020 problem. So in clear terms, the ask is for $7,000 one time. And then the Odin Police Department did a terrific job of negotiating that maintenance down to around the $800 a year mark. But we're not asking for an extraordinary measure. It's just one of those things where it will be on par with every other department we have here. Small department, but it's an upfront cost that is not manageable by that department. So I volunteer to bring it.
So it's a one-time
It's a one-time
upfront fee.
upfront, and it's just software licensing, Darren, so it's like, they want you through the door, and then there's a maintenance fee every year, but it'll get them up and running, and it'll mesh this is why I'm bringing it to you and not necessarily anybody else, but it meshes with all the others. And, you know, this community grows together and it overlaps, really help. And I was thinking about this. Gas alone, it would probably pay for itself in a year or two to keep him from having to drive down here to get physical warrants. I'm not saying he does that all the time. Gary's office is great about giving them to him when they can, but no, this is a relatively low burden compared to what we get out of it long-term solution.
I would say, in Washington, we started that Spillman in 2012. Washington didn't come on board until like 2018. And so now, anytime they deal with someone, I can go in and look and see who they're dealing with.
Right.
Anytime Odin deals with someone, I don't know, right? And state police, but they'll never get on board with us.
I should have made that case here. It's a
There's-
two-way street, you're right.
There's 35 out of 91 counties that have Spillman. So there's several software programs out there. I get hit every day with someone wanting to trade, and as soon as I say I got Spillman, oh, I've got too much invested in that. Morgan County, for example, has had all of their local law enforcement on Spillman since 1984. So they hold a lot of information there. We hold a lot of information in our system that they should get access to, but I don't think Odin can afford it.
Would their maintenance be on top of what we're already paying?
Yeah, Washington pays a separate maintenance than I do.
And Odin will pay a separate maintenance.
Right.
We're not under the same contract. We have 3 different contracts because of the positioning on the timeline.
Well, it's Spillman too.
And it's Spillman, like they're gonna take, and Gary's contract is different than all of them because he also has the jail. He has a whole nother module.
Mine is like 70,000 a year,
Yeah.
but maintenance, but it's for.
They ought to include Odin for that.
Well, and one thing we're not doing is, I'm hoping they don't figure out that
I was gonna say, there's reasons.
that we've went to central dispatch because they might try to charge them a maintenance fee. See what I mean? So I'm like, that's not, yeah.
We want to kind of keep these as separate as we can.
Yeah.
Hey, guess what? This is the Odin Police Department. This is,
But it's like anything, if you put garbage in, you get garbage out.
Yeah.
But we miss out on any information that they may have.
Sure.
And then there are permissions that you can put on certain reports that city does that I can't read, and I can do the same with them that they can't read. There's certain permissions, jailers can't read some stuff, dispatchers can't read. We've invested a lot of time, there's a lot of money, and I will never ask to get away from Spillman just because of the investment that we placed in it.
Where's the 7,000 coming from? Is that our decision, or?
Yeah.
I didn't know if Dan had some extra money that he could pay for it, or?
you know what? The funny thing is, I did. 2020 rolled around. I thought this is what you wanted. I'm here to ask for it.
I'm just asking questions.
No, I wouldn't be here if I could do it.
Scott, do you already have a commitment? Do you already have a commitment from the town board for the maintenance fee?
Yes, I already got it on my.
Okay.
That's something we can take out of the general fund. Is that where-
Yeah. Could be.
I'm gonna move, we go ahead and
Thank you.
allocate the funds for this Spillman system for the town of Odin.
All right, motion
From
by
where?
Tom Shavy.
From where?
General
General
fund.
fund.
I gotta have more specifics.
Oh.
General fund is what, I can't just,
Just take it out of CARES Act.
CARES Act fund. Take it out of we'll take it out of. We'll go ahead and take it out of rainy day.
Fine, we do.
Okay.
CARES rainy day.
Thank you.
I'll second.
All right, Marilyn McCullough seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Mike still there?
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Says he is.
Says he's on it.
That makes a lot of sense, so that's a good. All right. All right, as in every year, one thing that's really made the budget kind of go along. I think there's gonna be a lot of things that we're gonna work ahead on this year, but one of the things that we're going to put together a little early is our wage committee. This allows us to kind of speed the process as we go along for our budget, to kind of make our recommendations to office holders and that sort of thing. So I put out a message to everyone to kind of disseminate, who was willing to be on that this year. Last year it was myself, Tony, Mike Myers, Patty, Misty was on that. I'm gonna go ahead because of, I have the background in those for the last 2 years, and is there anybody else who wants to serve with me?
I'd be glad to serve with you.
Thank you, Tom. Would you be willing to serve as chair this year?
I guess I would, yeah.
That's awesome. Anyone else? Darren Holder, Darren volunteers. Thank you very much. That will be our committee, along with Patty and her staff, and we'll get those meetings started. So thank you very much for that. All right, next thing is a salary ordinance amendment, and Kelly?
Good morning.
Morning.
I have submitted to you all an additional appropriation request for a grant that we have received. The Centers for Disease Control through the federal government to the state of Indiana has been awarded $48 million to support the workforce of local health departments for our COVID-19 response efforts, as well as us supporting schools. I've attached in your packet that grant agreement. It is a $220,000 grant, again, to support the local health department in our response efforts. And I've submitted a budget with that, and it is for 1 year with a 2-year option, which we will take. It is based upon our population. Some counties were given more, some less, but we're in that $220,000 threshold. And you'll see in our budget, based upon the grant itself, we are to support schools throughout the grant period, and a whole list of things that have to be done. And it has to be done by school, it has to be done by nurses. I don't know if you had the opportunity to read it, but I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Any questions for Kelly?
No, I'm glad that you applied for the grant, and I'm glad that you got it. And, you all have had pretty rough last 2 years, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Grant.
I wish I could say that I had the time to go out and seek the funds to bring the funds into our department, but the state did recognize that since we are at the health department, truly the health care for this county, we provide a vast amount of services in healthcare, and we are also stressed, just like all nurses in the nation, just like all workforce in the nation. Our state and our state recognized that this is something that they want to continue for a couple of years to make sure that we bolster our workforce and continue the operations we have suffered the last 2 years. So we are very lucky to have received it, but at the same time, it does come with a great amount of more responsibility. We have added to our nurses, and we have PRNs that have had to fill roles that we never would have imagined. And this will help sustain that, as well as make sure we can support our schools adequately. But thank you.
Yeah, I would just like to add to that too, Kelly, the county is so blessed to have a health department like we have, and I can say, I firsthand with my relationship with Ketchum Memorial, in a lot of situations when we were hit with COVID there in the very beginning, a lot of times it's kind of when somebody shows up and says, "I'm here from the government and I'm here to help," you get a little nervous as to how much help you're going to get. And but I can tell you, just overwhelmingly, Ketchum was just very, very, very gracious and thankful for the help that they got from the health department. Just professional, solid help the whole entire time, and we are just very blessed that you guys were there to help us get through what we got through. And again, thank you so much.
we'll let Dr. Holzapfel know. That was a very rough time for all of us, especially our nurses, because we were the lead on all of the nursing home activity. So it was a very sad time, but we all remember.
Any questions for Kelly? All right, do I have a motion to approve the salary ordinance amendment?
I would make that motion.
Motion by Mike Sprinkle, do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Second by Darren Holder, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All
Aye. Aye.
All opposed? Nay. Motion carries unanimously. Kelly, thank you so much, and
Thank you.
thank everybody in the department for it.
I will.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, number 7, we have an update copy ordinance. This is a fee schedule that hasn't been updated for a while, so we make color copies, things like that. There was nothing, it was all black and white copies and that type of thing. So do we have the actual fee schedule? That's gonna be? Yeah,
I just put it before you to assign an amount on the color copy. Please, our black and white copies are 10 cents a copy right now by ordinance.
right.
But we don't have any fee to charge for color copies, and we've been asked that, and so I didn't know how to answer it.
Based on, like, your provider, did they give a per amount, the actual cost?
I know what they charge
Right.
at their location, but
And what does that charge? They charge per color copy?
80 cents or more a piece. I'll have to look at my notes on that, but that's based on retail type situation, and we're not looking at that.
Right. Okay. So is that something we should research a little bit more and get a?
We can. We don't get a large amount of requests for copies.
Okay.
So it's just basically, there is a little bit of a difference on our maintenance fee for black and white and color copies, but I would recommend 25 cents would seem reasonable for a color copy,
Okay.
based on what I know at this point.
Okay. And we can always change that in the future as cost increase and that sort of thing. So. Yeah, Luis.
I know, kind of a request for that updating of that policy, what came from our office. We have some groups, some organization like the Master Gardener Volunteers. We have the Homemakers organization that sometimes they do through their work that they're doing. They need have some need for having copies for materials and that.
Sure.
And we wanted to be mindful that to help them, but at the same time, we know that they're not actually, their organization working with Purdue Extension, but at the same time, they have their own organization. So we wanted to be able to support that, but didn't want our budget, what we have allowed for that, to be burdened. So we were talking with Patty to see how we can be able to support that. And I mean, we're not gonna be making any money because anything that we charge for that service is gonna go back to the general fund. So we wanted to have something that was more updated, because when we were looking, was like mid-90s or something like that. So we wanted to be able to have something to be more standard for whenever they have any request for copies for material that we can be able to respond to that need.
Okay, thank you. So,
What is it now?
well, right now it's 10 cents a copy for black and white, and we don't have a color ordinance. So, my suggestion, maybe 15 cents a black and white copy, 25 cents a color copy. I think it would be reasonable. Anybody else have any input?
Never spent any time thinking about that. To be honest.
Does that sound reasonable?
From, at least from your people that are using it, do you think that sounds reasonable?
Well, I mean, it does, probably 10 cents
Okay. Okay. $0.10? Sure.
And 25 cents is not a number that's been vetted on my part, so I'm perfectly willing to, do a less amount, 20 cents, 10 and 20 is quick and easy for anybody to calculate. It's not anything that I think, it's not a money-making, it's not a revenue stream, it's just a basic covering for the occasional times that we do offer that to, for whatever reason. We just didn't have anything to tell them what we'd charge for color.
All right, so I'll go ahead and make the motion that we update our policy for the copier for 10 cents for black and white and 20 cents for color.
All right, motion made by Tom Schaefer for that amount. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Marilyn McCullough. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. All right. Now we'll go into additional appropriations. Luis, on the county extension.
We have our first deputy chief resigned to her position, and her last day was on January 21st. So this is just for the payout for what we have for some of the comp time that she had and vacation time and that part. That's a request that we're having, we're asking for.
Okay.
Per county policy, we have to pay.
You have to pay.
So I would move that we approve this.
All right, motion made by Mike Sprinkle, second by Tom Schaefer. All in favor? Aye.
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 And also,
Any opposed? Nay? Motion carries unanimously. Luis?
so in addition to that, since now we have a vacancy, we're gonna start working on trying to get someone hired at that position. And at the request of Patty, she mentioned that it would be a good idea to maintain a communication with you guys. There's no change on what we have for the salary because we already had that budgeted. The only thing that we may gonna be doing a little bit of tweaking on some of the job description. One of the thing would be adding the bilingual requirement to see if we can have someone bilingual in the office, and maybe in addition to the clerical support that individual is gonna be doing, we probably are considering to have some schedule some of the time in there, some percentage for some educational programs, since we're gonna be trying to target the Hispanic population, so at least have someone that be able to assist if we have some programming with that population.
Sure, that sounds good. If you just keep in communication as you look and find, and then we can evaluate, it's a good partnership, so
Thank you.
we appreciate it. Thanks, Luis.
Thanks.
Before you hire someone, we need to discuss it. Well, is there any way that could be a part-time person and save the benefits? I'm thinking a little weird here, but here's where I'm going. We get to the fall, Gary and the highway department, and everybody's gonna come asking for more and more money for fuel and all these expenditures. We need to be looking ahead, and if there's some way we can save money throughout the next 8 or 10 months, that's something we can do. Now, granted, that's not very much money in the bucket of the equation here, but.
Well, and I don't think that's focused just at you, Luis, and your department. I know with inflation, we're gonna be combing everybody, because we know that those expenses are coming. We're trying to be as proactive as possible to kind of offset. So that's just a communication.
That's just what we're thinking.
It's not just, with your department, it'll be with everyone, so.
And if not, and you need to do what you need to do, then that's fine.
Yeah.
If
Sounds good. Thanks, Luis. Clerk's Perpetuation Fund. How you doing? Good. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. Do all of you have a copy of what I had? I can't remember if I attached that to my paperwork. This is something I wanted to purchase, which I had talked with Matt about. It's something that we had not replaced since like 2010. Our computer that was attached to that was getting old, and we knew we were going to need to replace it, which I had talked to Dale about, but then realized that we also needed to update this equipment. It's something that we use to read the microfilm that's already been done. Like we microfilm files and then we can destroy them after a certain amount of time. But anyway, in order to look at that, we have to have the scanner, and this is one of the when I was talking to the company about it, this is the same company we've used in the past, and we've had good luck with them. When I was talking about purchasing one, they had a new model come out, so I was able to get the newer model of this, so it'll be updated. And I had actually asked someone at the library, Teresa Heidenreich, what they used, because I knew they had, similar type things that they had to use, and she said that they worked with this company as well and had the ScanPro device, but theirs was an older model, so this is a newer, updated model. And I wanted to take the money out of my clerk's perpetuation fund because we can use that for things like this, so wanted to see if it's okay if we go ahead with that. And
Is this the one you had, is this the one you had in the budget?
This was the one that Janice reached out because there was a deadline, and then I kind of let you guys know what was going on.
Okay, yeah.
Because they had a timeline to get done, so I went ahead and told her, let's get that moving, because we didn't want that price increase.
I remember now.
And so her perpetuation fund this is exactly what that fund was created for. So it was a win-win. We were going to save $500-600 just doing it by that time. So.
I know I have submitted something too, which I'm going to have to get a different computer. That was part of the problem, was my computer down in that office. So that will be coming probably the next time you guys.
And that makes sense, yeah. Do I have a motion to approve?
I move we approve the appropriation for the office equipment.
Right. Motion made by Tom Schaefer. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mike Sprinkle. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed,
Aye.
no. Motion carries unanimously. Thanks, Janice. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you very much.
All right, Gary.
This equipment was already approved last year. It's for the repeater for the community service security system down there. We tried to get by without it and wasn't able to. You guys approved it, but somebody, me, forgot to delegate or make the call to order it. So it got through after the first of the year, and we didn't have it I just need to have it reappropriated. We didn't have it encumbered.
At least he's not trying to throw somebody under the bus.
Well, I didn't make the call and I didn't delegate it, so that falls on me, right? So if that's the worst mistake I've made, I've got it licked, right?
It's still a good day.
Yeah.
Do I have a motion to?
So moved.
By Tony. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Darren. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thanks.
Aye.
All right. All opposed? Nay. Motion carries unanimously. Thanks, Gary. All right. Next would be the school liaison grant. This is the grant funds, and we're appropriating them.
Yes, and I wanted to make note that there is a transfer after it. When calculating the budget, we did, as mentioned earlier, sometimes grant money can be a burden, but we do not want to create any additional burden on the county. So I've included in the budget that all the benefits come from the grant money itself, and I didn't have it calculated high enough. So the auditor's office was kind enough to do that, and that was the point that I wanted to make.
Thanks, Kelly. Any questions? Do I have a motion to approve the appropriation as noted?
So moved.
That was Mike Sprinkle, made the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second, Mayor McCullough. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries unanimously. Let's move down to the transfer. Go ahead and put that out for a motion, please.
So move.
So moved by Tony Duncan, second.
I'll second.
Second by Darren Holder. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Nay? Motion carries unanimous. Thanks, Kelly. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Matt?
Yep.
I just want to thank Kelly publicly. She works with us greatly on all the grants. There's a lot of grants in the health department, and there's a lot of moving parts and good communication skills and just the effort that she does in trying to address these things so that we can all be on the same page and all speak the same language with the same definitions. I just appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right. In your packet, you have information from the aviation commissioners and the manager's report. You have the fund balance. Anything else from the council?
Have you got any updates on the airport? I mean, that you can share, or?
Everything's been approved by the FAA to start that process. They're going to start bidding it out and getting that later this summer. They hope to have construction started in the summertime. I'm sure there'll be some adjustments now based on cost and things with fuel. I have not heard since, because everything's just kind of unfolding in the last week or two. But everything was moving forward really well.
All's a go.
All's a go. Yeah.
Great.
That's one thing from your historical bucket list.
How many years, Mike, was that one?
That
You?
has been on the bucket list for at least 15 years, if not longer.
Well, one thing that, and all the office holders here and everyone, is we do have true collaboration with every office holder. Even though we sometimes agree to disagree, we work together. And some of these projects that have been a long time, combined dispatch, the airport, things are coming together, and I think people are working really hard. So my appreciation goes out to everybody. This board is so engaged in what we're doing, and for me and myself, I'm proud to be a part of it with you. So, I mean, I just think I've seen a lot of good things happen in a short amount of time, and I appreciate all the hard work, Patty's office, everybody. So, thank you. I want to throw that out there. So, anything else from the public? Gary?
They finally got the air conditioning systems put on the security center that we started last March. Started trying to get that project done. So they're on. They got some finishing touches to put in. So see what happens. Thanks.
Be a little cooler this year for you.
In more ways than one.
All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
All right, motion by Tom. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mike Sprinkle. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. I have some paperwork to sign.